I navigate the world. Like this. Ko aonui ahau. No tauranga moana tati haunui a paparangi, ngapui me ngā kuki airani hoki. I live in Tamaki Makaurau and like many other rangatahi, keep connected to the world online. Our tupuna were amazing navigators who made their way here without the devices of today. One of the tupuna was Tupaia, a legendary navigator and definitely a Taonga of the moana. He created a map that's become famous because no one could figure out how to read it, until recently. So who was Tupaia, and what was so special about this map? Tupaia te tipua, Tupaia te tawhito, Tupaia te tohunga no raiatea. When I first walked into the Tupaia exhibition, it was intriguing to actually find out more about him. He seemed to be good at a lot of things. It said he was the man of mana. He was an arioi, a high priest and expert navigator. He seemed like a person who liked to observe and learn new skills too. He was also a guide in Tahiti, probably why he hopped on the boat with Captain Cook. Then I found Tupaia's map. Apparently it's something that's taken 250 years for people to read. As a rangatahi raised with a Polynesian way of seeing the world, I'm trying to imagine how he saw it. When I see a list of names, I think whakapapa first. When we relate to where we are from, we link everyone to us so people understand who we are. Is that how Tupaia started when he drew his map? From what I know, just as a rangatahi, not everyone sees things the same way. Is that why it's taken so long for other people to understand how to read his map?
His map was different because the names of the islands were like similar, like to what we know, even if they were written, with English style. The location was different, the direction was good, but the distance from a point was different. He was taking consideration, for example, if there's a current that push against you, even if an island is closer than another one, well, you're gonna take longer to get there because the current is gonna push against you.
His map is not like written with north on the top. Well, I guess the first people who made a map decided that north was gonna be on top. So we come with this frame of mind and we look at this map and we're thinking, first of all, the north is on top, which is wrong already. It's definitely a way for him to know how to get to the different places.
It's not a conventional map as you see these days. I mean, if you compare the differences between the two maps, there's a lot of space in the actual map of the South Pacific. But I think that brings to light how not only Tupaia, but how Polynesians viewed islands, navigation, and finding those islands. I think Polynesians, for one, have a lot to learn from not only his map, but the celebrations that are happening with the Tuia 250 in New Zealand. Well, it gave the opportunity for New Zealand Māori in particular to voice their feelings about that meeting, that encounter, that collaboration back in the day. And I think for the Tahitian people, it's even more special for them being their ancestor from Raiatea. I think it's a wonderful thing for all Polynesians to recognise, and obviously it will give us an opportunity to open discussions on the subject.
So Tupaia and the Endeavour made it to Aotearoa. The Aotearoa map is awesome. It's got so much information right there, and you can see the whole story. There are red lines of where the boat was going, and the silly turns they made because they went in blind, trying to guess where things were. Tupaia seemed like he was good for making peace with us as Ngai Māori, But I feel like he was a bit unfair on himself, because he took the journey for far too long and should have gone home.
Tupaia is, I guess he's more famous in Māori stories than Tahitian stories, but he's a guy who managed to get on board the Endeavour and sail with Cook and all his guys.
Tupaia is an incredible Polynesian iconic navigator. He was the High Priest of Tahiti, and he was actually the brilliant mind who helped Captain Cook to navigate his way down here to Aotearoa.
The key to reading Tupaia's map, for us today, decolonize our minds, see a world in the way our ancestors saw it. Then Tupaia's map makes complete sense.
Because he was coming from such a different concept of ta and va and of time and space, he was coming from a worldview where the horizon comes to meet you, not the other way around, where it's quite Eurocentric, that you kind of travel towards a fixed destination. And the conversation that he was having with Captain Cook at the time is he was actually trying to take him to explore those islands. But Cook wanted to come and explore the great southern continent, or to discover it for himself. So at the time they believed there was a huge landmass at the bottom of the earth to kind of balance out the top of the earth. And that's why they were down here. It wasn't that they came to actually discover New Zealand. This is the fabled great continent that they were looking for.
It's important everywhere, but it's important in Aotearoa at the moment because we're nationally celebrating Captain Cook. We cannot celebrate Captain Cook and be true to ourselves without acknowledging Tupaia.
The key thing for future generations is to understand that Cook wasn't the only important person on that ship, that Tupaia brought his own knowledge and understanding to travelling around the Pacific. Discovery doctrines of the West often forget the huge discovery and the nature of exploration that our ancestors undertook thousands of years before any of them did it.
We come from brilliant thinkers, incredibly intelligent, incredibly courageous people. The story of Tupaia is one to really uplift us all. I think we all need to kind of be out there sharing our stories, cutting our own paths, pioneering and being really ambitious in what it is that we want to do. There is nothing we cannot achieve, and I think Tupaia demonstrates that for us all.
Tupaia never made it home. Being stuck on the boat, I would have wanted to escape personally, but I felt like someone had to leave that country one day and explore and come back with stories. Otherwise, he would have been stuck there, not experiencing finding New Zealand. He's legendary for that and obviously wasn't forgotten. But how many people actually know this? It's relevant for me because it's part of my history, but it's important for everyone because if the world can understand Tupaia and his map, maybe the world can understand more about me and other rangatahi and the way we navigate and see the world too.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.